treat because we've got Howard Tucker here to talk about wondering if we're bubbling over with the shows that we've seen. And he's going to talk about Walking with Bubbles. And then we got the producers of Walking with Bubbles on the red carpet at the Lortel Awards, Michael and Tom Dangora, to talk about all their projects, including Bubbles. So take it away, Howard.
The theater show of Walking with Bubbles, written and starring Jessica Hendy, directed by Richard Hess, lyrics by Brianna Barnes, and as Eva mentioned, produced by Tom Dangora and Michael Dooling Dangora, was a wonderful, wonderful, stunning piece of theater. At times it was horrific, yet at times it was triumphant, and it was focused on the often very stigmatized subjects of mental health, manic depression, and delusion. In this era of 12-step anonymous programs, Jessica Hendy actually was able to bare her soul with her autobiographical story of her journey as a Broadway star. She was in Cats and Aida, and the single mother of her son, Beckett, who she nicknamed Bubbles, and dealing with her husband's, or now ex-husband's, mental illness and delusionary behavior. And at times, Jessica assumed the voices of Adam, her husband, and Bubbles, and moves around the stage as they would. The direction was very swift and spot on, and the music and lyrics by Miss Barnes told the story beautifully, absolutely beautifully. Happy Face Plus.
Here we are with
Tom Dangora
and his husband, Michael Dangora.
So what are you guys cooking up now?
Walking with Bubbles is what we're working on right now, playing at the AMT Theater, and it's Jessica Hendy's one-woman show. It's her true story about being on Broadway and co-parenting with a husband who is going through a huge bout of mental illness, and it's kind of a feel-everything musical. It's very cathartic, but and definitely a lot of tears, but you feel everything. It's very hopeful and triumphant, and she's a master class in bravery and how to hit those high notes every single night. It's nuts.
It's amazing. I've never seen anyone in my life perform like Jessica. Jessica Hendy is one of the most consistent, incredible performers I've ever seen, and what blows my mind is she is as lovely off stage as she is on stage. I have never met anyone who deserves good things more than Jessica Hendy, and I think everyone needs to come see this show. It will change your life.
And it's going on until June something, right?
Yeah, it's playing through June 18th, and fingers crossed it will extend a little bit.
Oh, I hope so more people get to see
We're
it.
good at extending.
Yeah.
Yay! That's what I like to hear. Yeah. Well, congrats.
Thank you
so much.
Comeuppance at the Signature Theatre Company by Brandon Jacob Jenkins and directed by Eric Tang. This play is about a reunion from high-class reunion after 20 years. And they are a couple of friends. One guy is a very successful guy from Berlin. He's an artist, and he's one of the person who arrives first, and the other people keep coming in. The play is about, there's not much of a plot, but it is about these people's not happy life after 20 years. They all seem like they made wrong choices. And then this guy, Emilio, the most successful guy, keep nagging them and poking them that you made the wrong choice. You were confused then, you are confused now, you messed up and all that stuff, right? And actually, I felt he was the most unfulfilled. The play is very, very long. The writing is very good. I mean, excellent at times, but then it drags. And acting is very, very good also, but I think this needs to be edited, and it's like a big chill, mixed face.
Bina and I went to the Vineyard to see Tori Sampson's This Land Was Made, which we're just doing a report. We're not, because we saw it before it was ready for review, but we want to tell you about this interesting historical play about Huey Newton and 1967 Oakland, which centers around Miss Trisha's bar. And Sassy is in the future telling us this memory play about her mother and her boyfriend, Drew, who had dreams of making something of himself. And then this regular who all talk and no action, and this very kind auto repair worker, and Sassy's best friend who was the girlfriend of the brother that got killed in Vietnam. So it's about, race relations back in 67 that's still going on today. It's very relevant. And
It's a memory play which takes them back to a very important and very dangerous time period in the American history, which is the Black Panthers,
Mhm.
And that for me was the central kind of plot of the play. And then, I know a lot about it, but not 100%. And Huey showed up. And it was interesting to watch because you get that knowledge from it, but we can't really tell you everything.
Just that it's a humanizing look at history.
Yeah.
So, make up your mind to go see it. Sasha, Clarke, and I went to see Ron Lasco's A Gaga Guide to the Lower East Side, which has Phil, played by Linwood McLeod, as our tour guide, ostensibly to bring us to places important to Gaga and take us to various places in the Lower East Side of cultural and historical significance. But he keeps interrupting the tour to go on about how he was Sammy Shade on some mythical reality show called Let's Make Up and has a running feud with Paris Hilton, who was a prominent celebrity blogger back in 2006. Now, I couldn't care less about reality shows, real or made up, so that part of the tour I found annoying. From the title, I was expecting only tidbits about Gaga and to find out more about my Lower East Side. But I got to tell you, Linwood McLeod was very likable. And I absolutely loved the part where he talked about the Lower East Side. We revisited places from my youth that are now long gone, but it brought back pleasant memories. I also got to find out more about Gaga that I didn't know. And Sasha Clarke felt the same way. She said, we are actually standing in what was at the back door of the famed CBGB's club. And if you have ever set foot inside that storied venue or even seen pictures of it, you know just how tiny it was. So to be standing in a now pristine cul-de-sac with the restaurant and some other high-end stores, it is a bit jarring. We are shown Gaga's original apartment after she finished at NYU and many of the clubs where she performed, hung out, and or found her early collaborators in. The Stanton Social Club was literally across the street from this old walk-up and was where she performed and collaborated with the DJ there. And the Stanton Social Club is where the Fringe first started, which begs the question, which came first, she wondered, the club or the apartment? We were also introduced to many sites that were there before Lady Gaga came to fruition. The Angel Orenson Center, the Clemente de Soto Velez Cultural and Educational Center, and the childhood home of some young men called Ira and George Gershwin. Now, this is me again. If I'd known there was this subplot about this stupid reality thing to make it more like a theatrical event, I might have enjoyed that part more. But now you guys know, then I think you will find this tour worth taking. Who knows what you'll learn? And Sasha didn't like the reality part either, so we're both giving it a mixed face, and more for both of us on Facebook.
Edward Einhorn's Shylock in the Shakespeareans revisits Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice, but instead of presenting horribly stereotyped images of Jews, we see the anti-Semitic ravings of the Christian characters, and the Jews are presented as intelligent, likable characters. The plot basically is that a merchant, Antonio, has to borrow money to get, an expensive bracelet or necklace for his beloved cousin Bassanio, so Bassanio can marry the beautiful Portia. This play, the Jew is not the one who demands the pound of flesh. That seems to be a fantasy on the part of the Christians. What I found most amazing was the transformation of Shylock's daughter, Jessica, into a fully rounded, totally compelling, rather conflicted character. And she's brilliantly played by Yael Haskell, who I think will become one of my favorite actresses. This is a truly amazing production because it really helps you understand what worked and what doesn't work now in the Shakespeare play, and really is one of the few plays that ever really deals with Jewish characters as being complicated and likable. So this to me is a major happy place.
Raji Joseph's King James is how a friendship develops and changes over time. Matt reluctantly has to sell his dad's season tickets to his beloved hometown team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, in order to get out of debt. Sean has dreamed of going to a game since he was a little boy, but had no one to take him. Things are just beginning to look up for the team with this new kid phenomenon, James LeBron. After much haggling, a deal is reached, and because there are 2 tickets, it is only natural that Sean would take Matt. Thus, a friendship is born. They trade complaints about parents growing up and the significance of the Cavaliers in shaping their lives. For fans of any constantly losing sports team that may disappoint them year after year, but, hope springs eternal, this is the play for them. With me, it's the Mets. I was chuckling in recognition throughout this play, thinking of the Buffalo Bills, from Buffalo, root for the hometown team, and the Mets. I gavolt the Mets. I once jokingly said to Alfie if Children's Services would go after me for making him a Mets fan. Watching the highs and lows of these 2 friends and the unpredictable twists and turns in their friendships was quite rewarding, even if their teams weren't. Major happy face. Oh, I love this play.
In Primary Trust, Kenneth tells us the story about his life in the small upstate New York town of Cranberry, population 15,000. He was raised by his mother, a single parent, until she died when he was 10, and then he was sent to an orphanage. From the time he was 18 until the story begins, he was working at the local bookstore. When the store owners closed shop and moved to Arizona, Kenneth has to find a new job and basically a new life. Every day for happy hour, he goes to his favorite place, Wally's, a local tiki restaurant, and orders Mai Tais. He's always accompanied by Bert, his imaginary friend, who helps him deal with life's challenges. When Corinna, a friendly server at Wally's, suggests he apply for a job at one of the local banks, Primary Trust, Kenneth's life takes a new direction. I generally don't respond well to shows with imaginary characters, but the device worked well here in this delicate, bittersweet drama. The superb acting of the cast made this show work. William Jackson Harper's smiling presence and his extraordinary ability to breathe life into the offbeat, unlikely characters he usually plays is extraordinary, and it's an essential asset for this production. Primary Trust is a little gem of a play that I believe will appeal to everyone. Major happy place.
Oh, yeah, I totally agree. The set design was by Marcia Ginsburg, and not only was William Jackson Harper in it, but you've got Eric Berryman as his imaginary friend Bert. April Matthews was so good in Tony Stone is the love interest. J.O. Saunders is the kind of boss, and you've got a musician playing called Luke Wigoni, which really adds to the whole mood of the piece. It was sort of like Harvey. You really want Harvey to be real because he brings such joy into people's life, and you don't want Harvey to ever be taken away. That's why the sister at the end says, no, don't take Harvey away, because you know how important imaginary friends are. So the imaginary friend really takes on a life of its own, and you're really rooting for this character because the friendship between them is so important. And yet you gotta, it's like, again, Purple Rose of Cairo. It's like, are you going to go into the movie world or are you going to stay in the real world? And maybe you'll get a happy ending, maybe you won't. But, this is such a good play, so well written. Who wrote it again? And it's very well directed, too.
Ebony Booth wrote it.
Yeah, and Knud, what's the name?
Knud Adams.
Yeah, he's such a good director. He's always directing these off-Broadway plays, quirky off-Broadway plays, and he really knows how to bring, humanity and just a deliciousness into it. I love this. This gets a major happy face for me too. One of the best plays. Mark and I went to see one of my favorite theater companies, the Epic Players, and they're a neurodiverse journey. This time they put on Stephen Sondheim with a book by James Lapine's Into the Woods. They had 20 people up there. There was no double casting. Everyone got a chance to do something. And it was directed beautifully by Aubrey Tieran, and the scenic design by Matt Amoff, costume design by Nicole Zosmer, sound design by Sean Ramis, and the props and puppetry by Wells Thorne were delightful. I mean, the cow. I love the friggin' cow. I always do. I even went and got, this is where the cookie crumbled. I even went and got a homemade cookie about the cow. Anyway, a baker and his wife, they're cursed by the witch. And so they have them with like Jack and the Beanstalk characters and Cinderella and other fairy tale characters learn harsh truths for their journeys through the woods, where they try to, get their happy ever after, and then it doesn't turn into such a happy ever after. Anyway, this was an ambitious and impressive production by this neurodiverse troupe. This is basically Mark and me talking back and forth. So the standouts to me were the baker and his wife, Max Tunney and Carly Hayes, Cinderella, Jordan Boya, Emily Ramos as Little Red Riding Hood, and the witch, Sarah Kaufman, was spectacular. When she did the Last Midnight and Stay With Me, I mean, I was crying shivers. I mean, I was crying through this whole thing because it was just so wonderful. I was just so moved and laughing. Oh, God, I love these people. And Travis Burby does a cartwheel as a mysterious man, and Nick Moscato as a wolf. Samuel Lang Stein as Cinderella's prince was deaf, and William Ketter did the sort of singing and stuff for him, but then he sort of spoke at the end, and oh my God, I am in love with this guy. He's like a young Tommy Steele. I mean, he's gorgeous and funny and hysterical, and their agony was off the chart. And I cannot recommend this enough. More detailed on Facebook between Mark and me. I just wanted to I wish I could point out the entire 20 people because they were all so wonderful, and you will love this. You can never go wrong with Into the Woods. Oh, go, 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 go. Major happy face for both Mark. Well, no, Mark is a happy face minus because he was being critical, and me, please. I leave criticism out the door with these people because I love Epic Players so much that they will always get a happy face from me because I just adore them. I was privileged to go to a press conference for Paul Gordon's The Gospel According to Heather. And it's this wonderful musical where Heather Krebs just wants a boyfriend. But how can she even navigate her way through high school if she might be the new Messiah? A small town in Ohio grapples with politics, religion, and teenage romance in this eclectic pop musical. And I've got a couple songs that I'm going to, let you hear so you can see how wonderful this is. And then on our next show, July 1st, you're going to get a lot more from the press conference because I got to talk to practically everyone, and it sounds so good. Oh, I can't wait to see the whole thing.
My name is Heather Krebs, and I was born on the 31st of January, a day I don't recall. I often wonder why no one wants to be around me. I know I am probably a freak of nature. I live in a middle-class neighborhood, or stiff in this middle-class neighborhood. Not loving this middle-class neighborhood. Sharonville, teenagers the worst. Are you still with us? Heather?
Me, I believe so. Yes, ma'am.
And the answer to the question?
He tripled the national debt, periodically dropped the income tax rate on corporations, sold missiles to Iran, ignored AIDS, started the homeless crisis, and 138 members of his administration were either indicted, convicted, or both.
I'm sorry, what does that have to do with 17th century pagans?
Oh, sorry, I thought you asked who was Ronald Reagan. My name is Heather Krebs, and I get lost inside my head, and there is no way out, no matter what I do. I've been hiding, but something crazy always happens. No one gets me, and I don't think that I do either. I live in a family community, messed up in a family community. I don't see any opportunity. Sharonville, Ohio, everything is boring. Traffic lights and strip malls, heating, roof and flooring. No one understands me, a point I'm underscoring. Sharonville, Ohio, we're super chill. I gotta get out of this place, but I'm not sure I will.
So, I hear that Matthew Spires likes you.
Matthew Spires likes himself.
Word is, he is going to ask you out.
Why would he ask me out? And why are you even talking to me?
Look, if Matthew Spires is into you, then you're gonna need a best friend. I have experience in that department.
Paisley Henshaw was the most popular girl in school. I knew it would be social suicide to accuse her disingenuous offer to be my temporary best friend, so I played along.
Okay, here he comes. And don't screw it up.
I can feel her friendship lifting me up already.
Hey,
Hey,
caught you watching our practice yesterday. What do you think of our chances against the Bobcats?
oh, I wasn't watching. I'm just like reading in the bleachers. I find it peaceful.
I know he's been kind of acting up, but I think we'll be ready for him on Saturday. Coach thinks we match up pretty good.
I started Thomas Aquinas' System of Theologica, but I'm finding his arguments too pedestrian for my taste.
Maybe you can come to the game. We can hang out after.
Hang out.
Yeah, if you want.
Here's the thing, I don't really like sports. I find it all sort of pointless. Do you like Kierkegaard?
Jeez, what a freak.
I gathered by his response that he was not into Kierkegaard. We live in a middle-class neighborhood. We thrive in a middle-class neighborhood. Why is her life so misunderstood? Sharonville, Ohio. Everyone is welcome, everybody. Sharonville, Ohio. Culture and tradition. No one is below us or above suspicion. Sharonville, Ohio. Where life is poetry. Or more specifically, a hellish nightmare. Or a girl of 17. Sharonville, Ohio. Everyone is welcome. Sharon, Sharonville, Ohio.
So Howard Tucker does a lot of cabaret for us that shows up on our Facebook page, which you should read about.
At other times, I have in the past month seen two exceptional cabaret shows. One, Summer Lovin' by the superheroes in love, Nick and Desi Dramard, and Forbidden Love, starring Charlie Romo and Vanessa Racci, the story of Bobby Darin and Connie Francis. I've also seen and reviewed the great movie about Yogi Berra called It Ain't Over, focusing on Yogi's feats on the field rather than his persona with giving the wise remarks and comedy. You might want to check out my Facebook page, Howard Tucker, and the High Drama Facebook page as well, which show all the reviews.
And our next show is July 1st. And speaking of cabaret, 54 Below, it's a very special cabaret space as they periodically have Broadway show reunions like Pippin, and more recently, which I saw, the 10-year anniversary of Hands on a Hard Body with some of the original people. And coming up is Wonderful Town 70th anniversary with Amanda Green, whose father helped create it. And that'll be on June 21st. Also, Scott Siegel has things going on continuously at 54 Below with the Salute Frank Sinatra and Broadway's Biggest Hits. And then coming up now is Sean Cassidy and Amber Gray doing their little cabaret thing. Now, coming up also is the National Dance Institute Rise, celebrating the life of Dr. Maya Angelou from June 17th to 19th. Teenagers in Love runs till June 17th. Storytime at the Cell, a night for Black stories with What Will the Neighbors Say, is Monday, June 19th at 7:30. And the Queerly Festival is going on till July 3rd. But you can see Transhumans June 17th and 22nd. Murder the First is going on June 17th, July 2nd. My review will be on Facebook. And June 20th, Off-Broadway Alliance Awards at Sardi's. Encore's Lights in the Piazza, June 21st and 25th. Dixon plays June 20th and July 20 and 21 is Club Gaga Cabaret Kaput with Ellen Foley and Robert I. Rubinsky. And they're also at Dixon Place. The Village at Disco Daydream is going on till June 22nd. And 92NY always has very interesting special events. I just saw Billy Crystal with Bette Midler interviewing him after a screening from Broadway HD of his Tony-nominated show, Mr. Saturday Night. It was better than seeing it live. And coming up is Josh Groban talking with Alex Endelman on June 25th. And BRAATA, who's been on our show, is doing Caribites Saturday, June 24th. And closing June 25th with reviews on the Facebook page will be Monsoon Wedding, Wet Brain, Chain Theater Summer One Act Festival, Blast Off to Space the Show. Closing July 1st is Lizard Boy, Le Bijou de Paris, which opens June 29th. Indie Space League of Independent Theater and 14th Street Y is presenting Indie Theater Week, June 26th to July 1st. And Women's Theater Fringe Lab will be presenting Dinosaur on the Moon, June 24th to July 1st. And 59's 59th Street is ending up their Brits of Broadway with Fox's, Kathy, and Light Invisible. So there is so much going on. And check out the Gospel According to Heather.